Hi.
Hey!
Welcome. In this lesson, you're going to learn why illustrating is important. 2 types of illustrating, going from abstract to concrete, and from general to specific. Finally, you're going to learn vocabulary that is useful for illustrating. To begin, writing is a rational activity. When you write, you take ideas and encode them in the written word. If you do so well, when somebody reads your work, they will decode it and, if all goes well, understand what you intended for them to understand. However, if your writing is all up in the clouds, full of abstractions, more likely than not, you'll only succeed in confusing them. So, if you're guilty of this kind of writing, of not using any concrete, real-world examples, you need to keep it real. Get your head out of the clouds and plant your feet firmly on the ground. That is, stick to reality. If you do, your writing will be real, relatable, and easily understandable.
わかりました。
In order to demonstrate, let's start with a very abstract concept. Love. Listen to this paragraph. Love is inspirational. It inspires great works of art. What is more, love leads to altruistic actions. However, it can also, when frustrated, motivate horrible actions. For good or ill, love is a force to be reckoned with. Wow, what a steaming pile of crap. This paragraph succeeded in saying basically nothing. In order to make it more relatable, we will have to illustrate each of these points. First, we'll use the abstract to concrete method of illustration. When employing this strategy, you simply replace abstract reference with concrete reference. In general, this strategy is very useful when illustrating a principle or a relationship between entities. The first supporting point was that love inspires great works of art. All right, so show me a concrete love and the actual work of art that it inspired. Love inspires great works of art. Frida and Diego's tumultuous relationship provided inspiration for the painting The Love Embrace of the Universe, myself, Diego, and Señor Zotal. On to the second supporting point. Love leads to altruism. It's a nice sentiment, but in order to illustrate it, we will need to show a concrete example of an altruistic act that is motivated by love. Love leads to altruism. In 2017, Agape, love for humanity in general, motivated over 5,000 Canadians to donate their kidney to save the life of a complete stranger. And now, onwards to our third point. In order to illustrate this last supporting point, we will have to provide a real, horrible action that was motivated by love.
Son of a bitch!
Love, when frustrated, can motivate horrible actions. For instance, Jane Blow killed her husband when she discovered his adultery. Got it? Good. Now it's time to look at our second strategy, going from general to specific. When you illustrate in this way, you start with a general category, such as cats. Then you provide a specific member of that category, like Peter. Hello, Peter. If we wanted to illustrate our first supporting point, love inspires great works of art, By providing a member of the category, we would simply say, which works of art? Love inspires great works of art. Many songs, such as More Than a Woman by the Bee Gees, Lola by the Kinks, and Walk on the Wild Side by Lou Reed, take inspiration from this emotion. Great works of art is our general category. Many songs are a specific type of art. Then we have 3 specific examples that belong to the category of love songs. Easy peasy, right? It's time to move on. Let's look at the language of illustrating. First of all, you can simply introduce your illustrations with no language at all. That is, no explicit illustration marker. Take a look at this example. Social inequality is a powder keg. The Ancien Regime locked the Third Estate out of social mobility, which, some historians argue, lit the fuse of the French Revolution. Another strategy is to explicitly introduce your illustrations using the conjunctive adverbials, for example, or for instance. Every ounce of pleasure is bought with a pound of pain. A night of revelry, for example, may be quite pleasurable. However, the ensuing hangover will undoubtedly outweigh and outlast the imbibery. You have a couple of options when it comes to placing these words. As in the example, it may come between the subject and the verb and be separated by commas, like this. It may also precede the subject, as in this example. Now let's take a look at 2 common errors that students make with these words. The first common error is to use these words to introduce a sentence fragment, as in this example. Irresponsible economic development can have devastating environmental consequences. For example, groundwater polluted with runoff, dust-filled air, and soil contaminated with acids and heavy metals. In this fragment, each example is a noun phrase. There is no verb. That is why it is a fragment. In order to fix it, we need to add a subject and a conjugated verb. For example, open pit mining in Chile has polluted groundwater with runoff, filled the air with dust, and contaminated the soil with acids and heavy metals. The subject in this sentence is open pit mining in Chile, and the verbs are has polluted, has filled, and has contaminated. The second common error with these words is the creation of a comma splice. In this case, 2 main clauses are joined together using a comma, or 2 commas, and a conjunctive adverbial. This error can be fixed in 2 ways. First, you can divide them into 2 sentences by putting a period after the first main clause and capitalizing the F in for example. Alternatively, you could use a semicolon instead of the period. Such as and like are prepositions that you can use to introduce your examples as well. They can be used either with or without a comma before them. When you place a comma before such as or like, you make a non-restrictive phrase. In other words, the examples could be removed without altering the meaning of the sentence. If we said, fruits, such as apples, grapes, and blueberries, are quite healthy. The examples are superfluous. If we simply said, fruits are quite healthy, the sentence is still true. If you do not use commas, the phrase is restrictive, or necessary to the meaning of the sentence. The sentence, fruits, such as apples, do not grow in tropical regions, is not the same as saying fruits do not grow in tropical regions, which is simply not true. Many fruits grow in tropical regions. Here's another example. In the restrictive phrase, American presidents such as Eisenhower, FDR, and Abraham Lincoln provided moral leadership. We only claim that these three presidents provided moral leadership. If this sentence were non-restrictive, it would mean that all other presidents, in addition to these three, have provided moral leadership, which, so far, at least one president has failed to do. To sum up, you now know why illustrations are important. Two ways to give illustrations, going from abstract to concrete and general to specific, and you know a few strategies for introducing your illustrations. That's it for this video. Best of luck in the future.